crafters, this is Suzanne from A Creative Muse, and today we're going to mat the first page assembly on the Mother's Day mini album. Yay! If I still sound a little bit, nasally, yes, my allergies are still here. Yes, I went to the doctor and they gave me something for it because it's my sinus. Yeah. But outside of that, I'm okay. I'm just overreacting to the COVID vaccine, the second dose. But beyond that, I'm good. Alrighty, so let's get started. Alrighty, crafters. So we're going to now mat the first page assembly. And what I mean by page assembly, this. So in this mini album, we have 4 page assemblies. We have 1, if you want to keep your Post-its, 2, 3, 4. So 4 page assemblies. Another reason why it's nice sometimes to have the Post-it is that the Post-it can also hold down these flaps like that. Let me see, I have my page 2 here somewhere. Let me show you what I mean. See how this flap is loose? Just to keep the album nice and tidy before you mat, you can use it like that. Now, I designed this mini album so that you don't have to rely on magnets, if you didn't notice that. Now I'm telling you, I purposely did it that way so you didn't have to go out and source magnets, because magnets become a whole nother thing in and of itself. And magnets always come with that disclaimer of if you have a stent, magnets can pose an issue. If you keep it next to your electronic device like my phone here, it can mess with it. So I try not to. For the beginner mini album maker, I did away with the whole magnets. The pages are holding in place, no problems. If you want to put a magnet, then yes, you could put a magnet here to magnetize it here to hold it. But does it need it? No. Does this need it? No, because I have, what I'm using actually is gravity. Gravity is holding it in place. I thought about that too. I know. Alrighty. So we're gonna do this first page assembly. And I have to keep this album close by because if I did it again without the album, I may do something different. Oh boy. When I was making the first Mother's Day album, a good habit, save your scraps. This is that 13 by 15 bag, poly bag. I did list it in the, I think I did list it in the mini album supplies. Or was it another video? No, I think I did list it there. I'm going to list it again here in the supplies in case, just in case. Because this is something 13 by 15. You can also do 18 by, 13 has to be the width because most pages are 12 by 12. These are nice to store projects. So in this instance, whatever I took out of this 12 by 12, which is now skinnier than it was before, pieces are in here. Pages I didn't use that I couldn't put back in here are in here. So this is always a good practice. Just to have some sort of bag to put them in. And from that bag, I did take out some pieces already. I keep these are good for making tags or making the photo inserts. These little kind of scraps that I didn't use for the pages. Keep it in your bag. Another thing, when you're first beginning to mat, decide your cover. What you're going to use for your cover, especially if you're only using one paper pad. So you flip in your paper pad. You will not see the green in here because I use both sheets. I use both sheets to make my cover, okay? So that's number 1 before you start matting. If accidentally you use it and you're like, oh, but I wanted that sheet, then you're gonna have to get a second paper pad. If it was a collection pack like Echo Park or Simple Stories, then what you could do is, buy the collection pack. This album is small enough that you could use one collection pack. Sometimes with a bigger mini album or more pages, more flaps, you're going to need 2 collection packs. What you could also do is buy single pages. Like if one page is like, oh, that's definitely the cover, two of that for your cover. then you're like, but I want to use it on the inside. Buy the single sheets, 3 or 4. I do that all the time, all the time. That's just, you know, so that's standard practice. So you kind of get your supplies ready before you make it, because once you start making it and you have a deadline, Mother's Day, this is why I'm telling you this, and you have a deadline of Mother's Day, you know, you may be halfway through and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, did I use that paper for the cover? Oh no, I did. And then you go back out to Michael's, can't find the paper pack anywhere. You're like, where is it? You got to go to 2-3 Michael's, cut the, you know, no, just tear out what you need. So I have a second pad actually here. So what I would do, exactly what I did for this album, I tore 2 of these out, put it in the bag so I wouldn't even look at it to use it. After I had cut it down, then I used parts of it, which was a very little part, here for the tag. And I kept the scraps, and I still have a piece left over because this album is not that big that is using the full 12 by 12 size. Alrighty, so after you decide what your cover is, take those 2 sheets out of the album, put it aside, or put it in one of those bins, the art bin or the, you know, the little, oh, what do you call it? The 12 by 12 box that we put stuff in. I know Art Bin is a brand, and then there's another one. I think it's Iris. Put it in that, put it aside. Okay, now after we decide that, let's go into the first page assembly. So here we are, page 1. Take off my Post-it. And now, how I did this, memory serves me, I went here first. I remember exactly well, not the full order, but most of it. And I knew I wanted to use this page. So here we are. Now you're going to need a few things to do the matting. Tim Holtz ruler, some sort of adhesive here. You don't have to, but I did. You know, Mother's Day, I want this to last a long time. So I'm using either the Scor-Tape, the cherry tape, or your scrapbook.com tape. You don't have to use it on all 4 corners, but I like to, and I'm going to show you how I do use it in real life. I have my little tape tearer, but I used to tear the tape. Either the Omni-Grid, or I used to use for many years the Perfect Trim Ruler. This was what I introduced in the making the cover video, but this you can easily find at, I got mine at Hobby Lobby. And also ATG gun or your tape runner. And if you want, wet glue. Why am I going to advise against wet glue? I have done a mini album, you know, following. There was a time when Kathy did a video and she's like, oh, wet glue. All my pages went from, especially with this type of cardstock. If you're using the Michael's cardstock, it started to do this type of thing. It worked. Even this glue says it's anti-warping. For this kind of size coverage, it's a lot of glue. But if you have no choice, either your art glitter, your tacky glue, if you are using the tacky glue, get that fine line bottle that I showed you. That will help you control it. This is going to be too much of a mess with this nozzle. Too much. Too much glue is going to come out. It's going to dampen your pages, and you're going to be like, oh, Suzanne wasn't lying. Yeah. So just get the fine line. I'll link that video here with the adhesives, so you can figure that out if you want to go that route. Alrighty. All that aside now, nice little sidebar introduction. Let's get started. What you're looking for, you're going to measure your page, and you're going to go 1/4 inch less. That's average standard matting. So, first page. And now here I am using my Tim Holtz ruler. 8.5 inch tall. Yes, and I know it's 8.5 inch, but of course I still forget. So I always measure. This was a good rule to measure. And if you're talking and you turn away, measure it again. If you feel you aren't certain, just, you know, measure it more than once when you're first starting out too. So 8.5 by 6.5. So in this instance, I'm going to need it 8 1/4 by 6 1/4 for this inside front part of the album. Oh, let me get my trimmer. I hope everybody's having a decent week. It's almost over anyway. Alrighty, so I'm back now with my tonic trimmer. I tell you, am I going to say it again? Yes. I still have that other big one in the cart, in my cart, and I'm like, oh, it's so tempting. No, don't do it. Right. So how I did it, I looked at both sides. Did I want big blooming flowers, or did I want this part where there's little blooms? I went with this side. Yep, that's exactly what I did. 6 1/4. All right, here we go. So see what's happening here with this? So now my 6 1/4 is floating here. This is what upsets me about this trimmer. All right, I'm gonna go get another trimmer because I need to be exact. I changed up my trimmer because this is my oldie but goodie. She still works. This one goes out. I can see clearly here 6 1/4. I can see 6 1/2. So only 6 3/8 is where I'm like gray area. So I'm gonna come back to my oldie but goodie trimmer. 6 1/4 by, yeah, she still works pretty good. 8 1/4. Oh, and I think I had cut this out. Yeah. I did bring this down a little bit because I didn't want this big gigantic flower at the top. So I think about things like that. You don't have to, you could just cut as you feel. But for me, I just have these 2 scraps that I don't need. So I'm showing you exactly what I did. See, it's the same thing because I knew when I close this flap, I'm going to see a flower here, but I didn't want it to be this big, huge bloom, if that's making sense to you. If it doesn't bother you, then, you know, it's no biggie. Here now for this piece, I can use the ATG gun or use your tape runner for this. If you really want to secure it down well, I would use, sometimes I've been known to go 2 parts Scor-Tape, 1 part cheaper tape, cheaper double-sided tape, which would be, notice how my cherry tape went from 60 yards to now, it's like down here. This thing is like this big. So I am using it. I am enjoying it, and I love the it was this big to now this big. Wow, right? I am enjoying this cherry tape. It's not bad, not bad. And I love the scrapbook.com one too, but guess what? Sold out. As a matter of fact, speaking of sold out, I saw it pop up on my I must have wanted a Gemini Junior shim, and so I clicked on it, opened up the link because I had asked for a reminder. Okay, now here I am turning the album because I'm going to be sticking it down, and that's just my thing. You could go just like this. For me, I have to angle it. The Gemini Junior plates sold out already. So scrapbook.com doesn't have it anymore unless they restocked it yesterday, but you can also check Simon Says, and if you do see it, do yourself the favor, get 3 or 4. Treat yourself to it. Those plates you do need to change those plates often. Here I am, I middled it, meaning all 4 corners. So this is 1/8 of an inch, roughly 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Here you can burnish if you want to, but you don't have to. Now I flip this over, and I had this part. So now this would go into my 13 by 15 bag. Okay, crafters, I made a mistake here with this. I am going to edit the video. So you see this piece of cardstock here. It was supposed to be, because I'm going by the album, but I obviously didn't see the hot pink here. So I'm going to now mat on top of this. Yes, you can mat on top. Don't worry about it. I'm going to just go 6 1/4 by 5 Oh my goodness. Am I feeling 100%? No. But am I getting this video done? Yes. I'm zooming down. This is for my newbies, okay? Because I know sometimes, you know, if you're not used to using rulers for measure, I mean, just get used to it. It's okay. And thank goodness the 1/4 inch is a clearly marked 1/4 inch. I'm not saying 5 3/8 and 5 7/8. I'm not giving you all of that jazz. I'm giving it to you very straightforward. Alrighty, so here you take your ruler, and I like the Tim Holtz because Tim Holtz starts at 0. Here is just a generic ruler. Notice how it doesn't start at 0. It starts here. This kind of ruler I'm not a fan of. Because if I go here, I'm not at 5 1/4. I'm now, you know, I'd have to keep lining it up here. So get yourself a ruler. It's easier and you won't make mistakes if your ruler starts at 0 to 1 inch. This starts 0. Right there, that's 1/8. Right there, that's a 1/4 inch. Okay, and why the Tim Holtz ruler is also such a nice ruler is because it does have a zero centering part here. So I can also figure how to go, you know, this is 5 1/4, how to go 2 inches out, 2 inches out, and find the center. Sometimes I use it, not often, but I do use it. Alrighty, so here we are at 5 1/4. So we're going to come down to take off a 1/4 inch. We're going to come to 5. So it's going to be 5 by 6 1/2. Come down a 1/4 inch. 5 by 6 1/4. You guys must have been like, Suzanne, you forgot the pink. Oh my goodness. Alrighty. So that pink then would be 5 by 6 1/4. Oh darn. Apologies, guys. Blame it on my fogginess in my head. So I'm going to now fix that little boo-boo. 5 inches. And 6 1/4. So if you make a mistake, yes, you can mat over it at this point because it's only one layer and it's flat. Meaning I didn't put on all the other components to it yet. So I'm going to go straight over it because I wanted you to be able to make at least this first part. If you're interested in me matting all the pages, let me know, but I know these videos are getting long. Because I am doing this, I'm matting over this cardstock. I'm going to go in with Scor-Tape to fix it. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, I hope by next week I'm 100%. I did pick up my script yesterday. My poor pharmacist, she's like, are you okay? I'm like, no. She's like, do you think you need to go get a COVID test? I'm like, no. I said, I know exactly what it is. My immune system is just in hyperdrive. So she said, at least the vaccine is working. The second vaccine. That means that my immune system is responding to it. It's just responding in a way that's just dragging out me getting better. Oh, yesterday I wanted to film this. I was so foggy in my head. Oh, it was bad. I was like, oh, no, there's just no way. No way. But funny, late at night last night, I was able to make 1 or 2 cards because I'm going to make some Mother's Day cards too. I also want to use this same patterned paper to make, you know, like a slimline Mother's Day card. So you guys can get more bang out of the cardstock. We can make an easel card and then a slimline card. I don't know about a mini slimline. It's mom after all. Do you want to go mini for mom? Unless she likes small, you know. Unless she doesn't want a big card. But I always gave my mom big cards. All right, I'm going to mat straight on top of it. Oh boy. Okay. I matted as best as I could on top of it. All right, so this is how it's supposed to look. Jeez, Now I'm going to have to cut another sheet of that striped paper. Isn't this paper beautiful? I mean, if you got it and really flip through it, there was so many sheets in here to love. Sometimes, you know, with these paper packs, you'll find two or three sheets that you're like, yes, that pattern is fabulous. But this one just had pattern after pattern after pattern. There was so much to like, or so much to love, I should say. 5 inches, we're going to come down to 4 3/4 by 6. 4 3/4 wide, 6 inches tall. Four and 3/4. There we go. By 6. I'm going to go a little bit below this whole cluster right here. Now we're going to put this on here. Oh, goodness. Thank goodness for editing. Oh, jeez. Oh, and I do have a ginormous haul video that's coming very shortly. I wanted to film it after this actually, so I may still, if I can get my thoughts together, I'm gonna film that because I have all sorts of goodies. And then some AliExpress came in too yesterday from that sale that was like, I don't know, I guess the mail slowed up again. It had picked up a lot of speed, then it started like grinding to a halt again. I even saw some recent haul videos where, you know, folks were showing stuff from Easter and they were on a design team, but it just arrived late. Put it down for next year. Okay, so here I am just adding some of my wonderful cherry tape. Alrighty, so now I'm going to adhere this. Let me stand up. There we go. Alrighty, then I'm going to now do that little bit of photo matting here for 4 by 3.5. Alrighty, so we're going to cut this polka dot page, which is just like one of my favorite neutrals from this whole collection. 4 by 3.5 by 4. So this other piece will be 3 3/4 by 3 1/4, 3 3/4 by 3 1/4. So here to take that piece with the polka dot, you're going to cut it down to 4 by 3.5, and then you're going to cut the photo spot, or your, if you want to go straight with the photograph, your photograph would be cut down to 3 3/4 inches wide by 3 1/4 inches tall. So after you put your adhesive on the back, you're going to now come about so. Stand up overhead. Make sure that you center it, not too high. Around here is good. You can burnish if you want, but don't burnish your photo because the Teflon bone folder may mark it from the pressure. Alrighty, now we're going to do the photo mat. Photo mats I like to do with some sort of double-sided tape. Here I'm using my cherry. My cherry. Put your adhesive, and in this case for the photo mat I'm using cherry tape. Or behind your photograph at this point. Remember about the orientation if you are using a photograph. You know, the width is the widest part. 3 3/4 inches wide. Right, and then stick it down. Centered on all 4 corners. There we go. I'm using a burnishing because this is just paper. This is cardstock. But if it was a photo, you would just use your fingers lightly, or like this. Take a, you know, okay, you don't want to get, if the photo, you know, has gloss and all that, just put something over it and press it down. You don't have to necessarily go in with your fingers. And I'm going to do that back inside flap. You can go direct photo. You don't have to. I mean, it's nice to have just a little bit of color behind it. You could do solid. That pink paper that I bought, that pink, you could do like this and then put a photo. Try not to mat too heavy, because the more you mat this up on the inside here is the more it's not going to want to lay flat, the more it's going to keep lifting because of bulk. But measure it just to make sure. 6 1/4 long, 5 inches wide. It's okay. Better to be accurate than guess it and then you cut it wrong. Alrighty, come on in. 5 inches wide. 6 1/4 inches tall. I like the bottom here. So let's go this way. 6 1/4. So this trimmer comes out to 6 1/4 folded, which I did appreciate that for the longest time. And I use it at crops from time to time because it travels well, and when I have it in a craft bag, it doesn't collapse on me. Let me see. I think I like it like this. Yes. I know. I look at the pattern like, what do I want to see at the top? I like it like this instead of halfway. That's just my little quirky thing. You don't have to be that picky. It's okay. That's why I don't mat albums quickly, because I sit there and I think about each page. I try not to race through it. It drives me crazy if I race through it. I can't. Okay, so in this instance, I use ATG the whole way. Come on here, I'm gonna stand up again. And center, 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 center it as best as you can. There we go. So if you notice that I'm low, but I'm not touching, I kind of keep my fingers that way so it doesn't automatically stick. If it does stick, yes, you can come in with, where's my undo? Undo can work here. You can just use the undo and then carefully lift it off. Like if you came in at an angle and you're like, oh no, then I would do undo. Where I don't do undo is if I wanted to lift off the page assembly and put it on back, which I already said in the last video, but worth saying again. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go with the little strip that I have here. Oh, here's a piece from my stash. Now, working on an active mini album, I like to always keep little strips. Why cut the whole thing again? Save it for your next album. But here's the other piece that you're looking for, the other page, the page that you're looking for. This is the strip. So you would just cut along here and cut along here. That's it. So it's just a little strip, but I already have it done. Here I'm going to measure exactly 5 inches because I'm going to put this on top of it. So I'm making it look like washi. Kind of like a thick washi, I guess. 5 inches. Which end do I like better? I think I like that end better. So let's go 5 inches here. And this trimmer, you can either go down or go up. I always like to push up. And I'm going to adhere it here, like so. Now, for something like this, would I use ATG? No. I want a really good stick, but I can still use cherry tape or the little bit stronger scrapbook.com tape. So let's go scrapbook.com tape. Let me not just pick cherry tape because I started making this album with cherry tape. I can use my scrapbook.com too. I could also use Scor-Tape, but I'm conserving on my Scor-Tape. I've spent $100 on just Scor-Tape, trust me. No, 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 no. So I'm keeping it, I keep it mainly for construction. And that's just my thing. But if you don't mind, do the whole thing in Scor-Tape then if you don't mind. This is a memory keepsake for your mom. So if you want to do it all in Scor-Tape, each page, it will take a little bit longer. This takes longer to do than just rolling out your tape runner. It does take a little bit more time, or your ATG. But it is mom after all. And behind photographs, I would definitely go, when you're putting photographs in, go this route for photographs. It'll stay in place. This will lift with time. The corners will start lifting, and no. And don't put wet glue. So just get at least one roll of double-sided tape. Even if you buy the, I haven't used the Hobby Lobby one, but Hobby Lobby has this big roll of double-sided tape, 1/4 inch. I think it's $3.99 or $4.99. Even that, you know. Here I'm just going to go straight on top. Clean. And there I go. Just burnishing with my fingers. Why am I not using this? Because if I use a Teflon bowl folder with this little foil, it may start lifting. So I just burnish with my fingers, like just stick it down. And then what I did, I had cut a strip here for the photo. Let me see what I measured this as. 4 by 4.5. There we go. Like I said here, you can use a double-sided tape. If this was a photograph, I would use double-sided tape. But I'm going to do the 1/2 and 1/2. And I'll also put the link for the place photo here stamp if you want to get it. Her name is Judith. Oh, is it Judy Stamps? I can't. I'll find it. I know what it is. I just can't remember what it is. And instead of going here in the middle, like I normally would, I came all the way down. You don't have to. So you could do it either stuck like this with the space here. But I wanted it to look like it was, you know, intersecting with this gold foil. There I go. Then I did my little stamp. That's that. The place photo stamp, I did that. And we're going to do this strip. I had to take a little break for a second. I had to hydrate. My throat started burning. I'm going to do this. And I may do part of this, and then I'm going to be done with the front of page 2 because I'm starting to go downhill again. Alrighty. So we're looking for 8.5 inches long, 1/4 inch off, 8 1/4 by 3 1/2. So I can come down to 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. Let me cut that. Cut, measure, cut, measure, cut. Try not to do both pieces at the same time because that's when mistakes happen. 3 1/4. Oh boy, I was feeling good, and all of a sudden, it just came down on me. Oh, I guess I won't be doing the haul video right now. And 8 1/4. Nope. I'll probably do it tomorrow when I feel a little better. But I have so much stuff to show you guys, and I have a deal that I got from a crafty friend. Amazing. Like crazy deal. Let me see which side do I like. Do I like that way? Yes, I'm gonna go with this orientation. So a crafty friend reached out to me, and she is destashing. And although I'm sad that she's I'm sad when a crafter just, is like, oh, I want to get rid of stuff. But then when you get a little gem, in the D-stash. I'm like, thank you for calling me. Thank you for thinking of me. She reached out to me because she knows that I like die cutting and I love die cut machines like this, manual die cut machines. And it was a deal I couldn't pass up. But we'll talk about that in my haul. Look out for my haul. Oh, why am I using Scor-Tape? Oh, you can tell that I'm not feeling right. Look at that. I'm using Scor-Tape. All right, I'm going to finish up this thing real quick. Because I'm just picking up any double roll, any double-sided roll I see. Oh, goodness. This is when you started off good and all of a sudden, what's happening? Yeah, I'm fading. Let me make sure I'm recording. Wouldn't that be funny? I did all of this and then not recorded. Oh, I would have a heart attack. I just looked up to make sure that I see that number moving, which I did. Because that would definitely upset me. Because then the page would be done. Alrighty. So now for something like this, when I'm putting this on, I like to turn the album this way. So I'm showing you how I normally do it. And then I come down. Now, if for some reason, because it here is white to white and you really can't see, sometimes what I'll do, especially if it's black, I'll put in just a pop of color just to add that contrast so I can see where my line is. I'm going to stand up for this. And it becomes infinitely harder to see when you're working with black. So I'll just pop in a post-it in that pocket just to show, just so I can see where my pocket starts so I can center. Okay. Here I'm going to just use my fingers because this foil will bruise with my Teflon bone folder. So the post-its come in handy. Okay, let me take out the page one. I don't want to confuse you. Alrighty, now I'm going to do inside the pocket. So, the measurement I'm looking for is, you want to go, if it's a scrap, you can go 1/4 inch in beyond where this is. So let's say, for example, this is 3 inches. You can go 3 1/4. Comfortable, 3 1/2. And even though I'm going to go 1/4 inch here, normally it's good to just have a 1/2 inch depth. So when somebody is, pulling this pocket, they'll think it goes all the way down. But, nobody really, you don't want to, especially if it's a gift, you don't want to let them see the guts of the album. So go 1/2 inch in. So what did I say? 3 1/2 by 8 1/4. I know it's 8 1/4 because my page is 8 1/2 inches tall. Not feeling great, but I'm not feeling that bad. 3 1/2. 3 1/2 inches. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, I am. 8 1/4. Let me go, I want it to start here. So let me trim this. Come round to 8 1/4 here. So if you were wondering, what did I just do? Like, why did I trim off that part? When I insert this, I don't want that edge starting. I want it to have a full flower. You can just do little tweaks like that. I do tweaks like that. I have enough cardstock here that I can do the tweak. Alrighty. On this outside edge, because I'm going to insert it like so, I'm going to put cherry tape, not Scor-Tape, a little bit of cherry tape down. Yeah. A little bit of cherry tape just for that top edge to ensure a good stick. It's better to put your tape runner or your ATG gun for what is inserted in the pocket, meaning this edge gets inserted here. Until you're used to doing this, don't put the Scor-Tape in here, because if it grabs, at least if it grabs with the ATG, you'll be able to wiggle it quickly. If it grabs with the with the score tape and you're not used to putting it to sliding it in here, then it can become a frustrating issue. So in the beginning, just go ATG gun or your tape runner. And I'm going to show you how I line the pocket. Put your adhesive. So I only put, you don't have to, you could do ATG all four corners. Just because I have it up here, I just kind of like to put a little bit of double-sided tape, but you don't have to. But what in here now, you want to go soft. Turn the album, so this is the proper orientation. I'm going to turn it like so. So it's good. I would say keep those Post-its so you will always know that you aren't going upside down. Because if I stuck these flowers upside down, oh, you would know. And I'm going to go like this. I'm going to wiggle it in. See how I gently, 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 and then I raise up the page. Line it up with my with the existing matting that is there. And stick. So I tried to line up here with here and then get that 1/8 of an inch here. Down here is a little bit wider, but that doesn't bother me. Nobody's gonna notice. Did you notice until I said it? Lightly. Oh, I didn't even need to use my burnishing tool. Oh, guys. Guys and gals. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Let's go now with that cut apart. So, back to my wonderful paper pad. I'm going to look for that second page of cut apart because I only used one cut apart out of my original paper stack. So I'm going to take out this one now. And we're going to cut this. Okay, so now if you notice, just looking at it, you can see there's all different sizes going on here. So you can't cut straight down. But what is even would be your first cut would be right here because all 1, 2, 3 parts are even across. Then I'd cut this, then I'd cut that, cut this, cut this. Do you see what I'm saying? Some pattern paper will have all 3x4, so you could just cut them down the middle, then cut them across. Here we have different sizes at play, including this piece. That's a different size. That's not attached to this. You could keep it if you want to, but it's not. So I'm going to show you how I cut this down. Find the most even part first, which would be this part. Here I'm going to use my little wire here as my guide. Okay, there we go. Cut. Yeah, pretty straight. And then I'm going to cut this one. Now, normally I don't cut it all up into a bunch of pieces. Yeah, okay, I'll cut this anyway. Yeah, no, normally I'll leave it in place because when I have all these little, when I cut it all up, I have all these little bits floating around with my scraps. I have a tendency of losing it. So I'll cut it like this. And then once I need something, then I'll go further and cut it down further. Hope I'm making sense with that. Because I'll have like a little cut apart lost in my mix, or I can put it in a separate Ziploc bag, like a smaller Ziploc bag, and then put it in. I could do that too. Alrighty, and then so we have this piece here that's 4x4, 4 inches by 4 inches, and okay, let's just make sure that is 4 inches by 4 inches. No, it's not 4 inches by 4 inches. So it is 4 3/8. I'm going to take off a little bit here because this side looks slimmer than this side. So I'm going to just take off. I'm going to bring it down to, yeah, I'm going to bring it down to 4 3/8. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys, that I'm getting into the 3/8 of an inch. Oh, boy. So it's not 4x4, but you could cut it down to 4x4 if you want. I did, let me see. If I go 4x4, no. 4x4, I'm going to lose this little gold line. And I kind of like my little gold line, my little gold embossing. Alrighty, so here we are at 4 3/8. So I would go to 4 5/8 wide by 4 1/4 tall. 4 5/8 wide by 4 1/4 tall. Okay, so let me zoom down to cut to show you where the 4 5/8 is, okay? And this is just for my newbies. By 4 5/8 of an inch. For this width, 4 5/8 for the width. As soon as I finish this part, that's it. Then if you guys want page 2 and so, let me know in the comments. I'll hopefully feel much more clearer tomorrow. How we're gonna measure 4 5/8? We're gonna go 4, 4 1/4, 4 1/2. It's not 4 3/4. It's in the middle between 4 1/2 and 4 3/4. That little long middle piece, that's 4 5/8, which is splitting a 1/4 inch in half. Hope I'm making sense. So if I wanted to split this 4 1/4 from between 4 and 4 1/4, halfway would be right here. That's 4 1/8. And you'll know you're right when you hold it up like so and you see how the matting is working, okay? I know sometimes for crafters who aren't really used to the measurements, it does get a little, you know, it can get confusing. And this is another thing with time. Alrighty, so now we're gonna mat this blossom and bloom. Alrighty. Here now, I'm gonna stand up to do this because I can't see. Centered, 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 centered. That looks about centered. And if you're off, like one edge is too wide, just trim it off. It's okay. Now, in this album, I had brought it out here and then it went up a little high. So this time, if you want to go here, this is about 1 inch from that edge. I'm going to bring it down a little bit because I think it looks, I didn't like it this far up. I wanted it more closer to here. I think it looks better like that. So, how I did this, my normal way. I'll look at the placement and I can see this line is right by that O. I eyeball it. You don't have to. You can measure it out. You know you're gonna be as high as 3 1/4 inches. I wouldn't go exactly at 3 1/4. I'd go a little bit below it just to make sure. So put your ruler, 3 1/4. I drop it down to 3 1/8 and then, or 3 and start there. If your adhesive does show through, and in this instance, notice what I'm using to put it down the way I'm putting it down. Yes, I would use double-sided tape. If when you put it down and you put your finger here behind it and you can feel the adhesive, or before you put it down and you feel like the adhesive is off, you can just put a strip of tape behind it just to cover up the adhesive. All 4 corners, well, yeah, my little, not all 4 corners, this set of 4 corners. Put your double-sided tape on all 4 corners of this 4 corner, not all the way out, or you'll be closing your pocket. I had eyeballed it with the O. That's how I normally do it, but I wanted to measure it just in case you're doing this for the first time, that you don't accidentally, you know, go too far and seal your pocket. So I'm looking at that O. I don't want it to be all the way down here. I want it to have just a little bit of fun. And also, here now you can choose to go high. You can choose to go low. I did center. Eyeball that centering. And I'm going to go, does that look straight? Yes. There. And I always run my fingers behind here just to make sure, and it is not on it, but it is close to it. There we go. So I like putting it here better than how I did it before. This is just a bit high. So this will look different in here, actually. Now it's looking closer. My insert is looking closer to here. I think this one is about 1/2 inch taller as opposed to here. I know. Alrighty, crafters. So we did the page 1 matting. Thank you for your patience throughout that video. And I'm editing that boo-boo anyway, so you'll see me talk a little bit about it, and then you're gonna see me fix it, so. Oh, goodness. Alrighty, crafters. I am going to go rest a little bit, get my head right. When I have my head right, I'm gonna come back in. Possibly, if I feel better later, I may do the page 2, but right now I'm starting to get foggy. So here we go with the flap, all the goodies, and I will link this stamp. Flip it over, and here, and we did do this little bit. Do you have to put this? No. Can you change it? Of course. If you wanted it to be this one, then you would only go 1/4 inch all the way around and then put it down. You could put it here, you could put it in here. Leave the pocket plain, whatever you want. Alrighty, crafters, until the next video, and then look out within a day or 2 for my huge haul. I'm calling it the massive haul because it's massive. Alrighty, crafters, until the next video, stay crafty, my friends. Bye.